Probably.
Hello, Miami University and all Oxford community. I'm Ethan Kolb.
And I'm Olivia Frampton, your co-host for tonight's show. Welcome to Redhawk Television. This week, Miami welcomed celebrity chef Antonia Lofaso as the first guest of the fall lecture series. Redhawk TV had the opportunity to sit down and interview her. Let's check it out.
We have Miami University's first installment of their lecture series for the fall semester. Today, our guest is the wonderful celebrity chef, Antonia Lofaso. Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys for having me.
So our first question, you attended the French Culinary Institute, which is now renamed the International Culinary Center. What was that experience like? What led you to pursue a formal culinary internship, apprenticeship education?
It's a great question. So actually, as of lately, right, it went from the French Culinary Institute to the International Culinary Institute, and it was actually just acquired by ICE in New York. So that actually, those two large entities of culinary school are actually just now one, and it's under ICE. Oh. I know. So my alma mater, which was actually the second, I guess, most popular, one of the second greatest besides the culinary school in Poughkeepsie. So I truthfully, I was in culinary school when there wasn't, a huge, admissions program. You didn't really see what you see today, which is, obviously a lot of chefs doing culinary competitions. It wasn't the hoopla of the hospitality industry wasn't what it is now. Mm-hmm. And I started working at Hot Dog on a Stick, like making corn dogs at the Sherman Oaks Galleria in the San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles. I was just obsessed with cooking. I was obsessed with the hospitality industry, as small as it was, like from a corn dog shop in the mall to, small little Chinese restaurants in my neighborhood. And so I actually moved to New York City, and I went to the Borough of Manhattan Community College as a film major. And I was like, I don't know what I want to do, but my world always led me to sort of my side job, or my side hustle as, working in restaurants. I was a hostess, I was a manager, I was a takeout girl, I was, a server, and I remember working in the first restaurant in New York, and this was just to pay my bills while I was going to college. And I met a woman who was an executive chef of a restaurant, and I said, there's like an actual like school that I could go to learn what you do. And she's like, yeah, absolutely. It's called culinary school. And so it was really through my love of all of the restaurants in New York and sort of my, I just couldn't stay away from wanting to be in restaurants in some form of hospitality. And most of it had all to be done with the front of the house. And then I was like, I'm going to go to culinary school. And I had no idea what that meant. I know that I made a cold call to the French Culinary Institute, which it was called at the time. And they said, Bobby Flay went here. And I was like, well, then this must just be the greatest school in the world. Because at the time, Bobby Flay had opened up Mesa Grill in New York City. And if anyone in the hospitality world knew. You know, he was putting, you know, it was the first time that we saw sort of like Latin cuisine, like Mexican food, like chilies and, you know, salsas and things like that on high-end, you know, meals and things like that. And I just remember him like being such an innovator. And I was like, well, if he went here, then it must be like one of the greatest schools. And I had no idea like what that meant. I didn't know what it entailed. I just knew that I needed to be there. I knew that this school had everything that I wanted to learn. And I was like, okay, I'm going. And I was actually living in Los Angeles at the time. And I called my parents and I was like, I'm moving back to New York. And they were just like, I thought you were a film major. And I was like, no, I'm going to be a chef. And the rest is history.
Be sure to catch us for our next broadcast, and you can find us on our socials and on YouTube at Redhawk TV MU.
This week, a few special guests from Miami University's own Society of Physics joined us in the studio to demonstrate a tool called the Van de Graaff generator. It's time to learn some science on this week's edition of Redhawk TV's Club Showcase.
Hey everyone, we're here with the Society of Physics students.
My name's Ryan.
I'm Thomas.
I'm Dylan.
And I'm Nick.
And today we're talking about the Van de Graaff generator. Electrons are all around us, but they can be taken mechanically with a belt and gathered onto a metal surface.
Every inch of the Van de Graaff machine gives 25,000 volts. We can see that through the sparks when we bring this close to it.
Everything around us has electrons, positive and negative charges. Even bubbles can be positively or negatively charged. So when a bubble comes out of a bubble wand, the negative charges are attracted to the charges that are generated by the Van de Graaff generator. But when they pop, all of that negative bubble dust gets spread out the other way and repels all of the other bubbles.
This is called a silver snake. Essentially, you have an insulator and then a metal ribbon. And when that metal ribbon gets close to the Van de Graaff machine, it's attracted because there are charges. But when it hits your hand and the charges are grounded or now zero, it's then repelled from the Van de Graaff machine, like this.
This is what's referred to as a neon wand. When this Van de Graaff machine is permeating its electric fields, it induces a potential drop that then is incident onto an electrode, which then accelerates the electrons and therefore causes a reaction where light is emitted. There's a neon inside of the tube, which then generates the photon with a certain wavelength that emits this wavelength of light that we see in our eyes.
Thanks for watching. Again, we're the Society of Physics students. Find us on Wednesdays in Krieger 222, 6 to 7.
This isn't working as good as I thought it would.
Guys, this is not epic.
Thanks, Thomas, Ryan, Dylan, and Nick for that electrifying demonstration.
If you visited King Library this semester, you've likely noticed a quiet, dark space where King Cafe used to be. This is because after 19 years of business, the coffee and snack spot in the library basement has been permanently closed. The reason? An alleged decline in the business over the past several years. Gino Svek, Senior Director of Dining Services, cited a lack of operational efficiency, customer satisfaction, and strategic management needed to keep the cafe profitable. The library was reportedly notified of its closure back in late May. While there are no official plans for the space, the tables and whiteboards will remain for student use. For now, students in need of a quick bite in the library basement will have to rely on the vending machines or outside food and drink.
This week is Miami's Suicide Prevention Week. The week is full of community building events and was kicked off on Sunday with a suicide prevention walk. Let's take a look.
September is Suicide Prevention Month. In Miami University's Suicide Prevention Week spans throughout the last week of September into the first few days of October. Mental health and well-being events are hosted at the university throughout the week. The first event is the annual Out of the Darkness Suicide Prevention Walk, which took place Sunday, September 28th. Hi, this is Caitlin O'Brien here at the Suicide Prevention Walk in Uptown Oxford at Memorial Park. Today at 1 p.m. we will be starting a 2-kilometer walk to support suicide prevention and honor those who have died or have struggled by suicide. This event is hosted by Miami University and the City of Oxford. Throughout the park, Miami mental health clubs and organizations displayed tables with resources for students to get support and help support others. The event began with a speech from the woman who put this all together, psychologist and associate director for community engagement at Student Counseling Services, Jennifer Young.
As of 1 o'clock today, we have raised almost $2,250 for their cause.
Yeah!
After a few words about the walk's history and the funds raised this year, she introduced Emma Halcomb, a graduate student at Miami and a community manager in the Office of Residence Life, who spoke about her personal connection to the walk and kicked off the honor bead ceremony, where attendees could take different colored beads to wear to represent who they were walking for. The walk took participants from Oxford Memorial Park down High Street and onto campus, where they passed a tree planted between Armstrong Student Center and Krieger Hall in honor of Andrew Dalton Salzman, a Miami student for which the annual walk was started in memory of. They took Patterson Avenue back to High Street, and the event concluded back at Memorial Park. Suicide Prevention Week events continue at Miami University through Friday, October 3rd.
Thank you, Caitlin. Now, on to sports.
Hello and welcome to the Redhawk TV Sports Update. My name is Andrew Elvis. Thank you for tuning in. Last week it was homecoming weekend, and with homecoming came a full slate of Miami sporting events. To start off the weekend, the Miami Redhawks soccer team battled the Eastern Michigan Eagles on Thursday in their 4th MAC matchup of the year. This was a battle from start to finish that saw Miami strike first. In the 14th minute, it was Kayla Perfect scoring first. She received a beautiful pass from Katie O'Malley, and then Perfect shot over the top of the Eastern goalie, and it found the back of the net. What a shot, really a perfect shot. And after that, Miami wouldn't look back. It remained 1-0 for the rest of the match as the Redhawks defense kept Eastern's offense at bay. Miami beats Eastern Michigan 1-0, and their next matchup will be at home against the Toledo Rockets on Sunday at 1 p.m. Turning it over to football, the Miami Redhawks entered homecoming weekend 0-3. They faced off against the Lindenwood Lions, and in dire need of a win, the Redhawks came ready to play. After a slow start on offense, it was Miami's special teams that scored first. On 4th and 8 at the Lindenwood 19, it would be Jermaine Agee who blocked the punt and scored the easiest touchdown of the day. From then on, Miami would dominate Lindenwood. In the second quarter, the Redhawks saw 2 Cam Perry touchdowns, one from 34 yards out and one 66 yards out, and those 2 touchdowns certainly demonstrated what this type of game would be. Miami also got 2 rushing touchdowns from both Kenny Tracy and Jordan Brunson, and they dominated all 3 facets of the game. Miami dominates and wins 38-0, and they improved to 1-3. Their next matchup will be in DeKalb, Illinois against the NIU Huskies as Miami goes for 2 wins in a row. Kickoff will be on Saturday, October 4th at 3:30 p.m. on ESPN+. Thanks for tuning in to the Miami Sports Update. Go Redhawks.
TV entertainment anchors Griffin Tomazik and Zach Josue sat down to tell us about some big things happening in the music industry this week. Here's their music review.
Welcome viewers, the very first Redhawk Weekly Music Review. I'm Griffin Tomazik.
I'm Zach Josue.
Very nice to meet you. The first order of business is going to be reviewing the top 5 weekly songs for the week of October 4th. Number 1 is Golden by K-pop Demon Hunters. 2 being Irish Out by Kenshi Yonezu. 3rd, we have Ordinary by Alex Warden. 4th, back again, we have Soda Pop with K-pop Demon Hunters. And Back to Friends by Sombra at number 5. In pop culture news, Taylor Swift is building a lot of hype for her new album, which is going to be releasing later this month, I believe. In addition, she's taking herself onto multiple different reality television shows, and the marketing is doing very, very well. In addition, Huntrix is still holding some tops charts on Billboard, in addition to being included in the top 200, and is both receiving increasing international and national acclaim. Furthermore, we have 2 more high-profile albums which are going to be releasing in the future, that being Tame Impala and, of course, the recently released Mac DeMarco album. In addition, Cardi B and Nicki Minaj have been having reports of beef again as a result of both of them releasing new singles and albums at the same time. In addition, Doja Cat dropped a very popular album last week, which has been getting some very positive reviews. Finally, Bad Bunny was announced as the 2026 guest musician for this year's Super Bowl. Moving on to Zach with album review.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Griffin. So, first of all, I'm going to review the new Mac DeMarco album called Guitar. I would give it a good 7 out of 10. And while it sounds kind of harsh for Mac DeMarco, I think his older work is just stronger. I do still really like the album, and I resonate with it, especially after reading certain interviews where he says he's just trying to be more genuine, and that's why it's more of just a stripped down sound, just kind of him and his guitar. And these days he just sees himself more as an old man who just does the music for fun, and so he can just play his songs. And he's tired of the music industry, so that's why the whole album was just done by him. The recording, the mixing, even the music videos was all just him. And that's very similar to another artist who's releasing a much anticipated album in October, Tame Impala. The much anticipated album Deadbeat releases on October 17th. Now, he's already released 2 singles from this album, Loser and Dracula, which are receiving some attention. They seem to be very well liked so far. I myself am more partial to Loser. I think Dracula is all right, but it's not really my thing. But there's a connection to other artists, those who know the artist Joe. He was in the music video, as well as Beck made a cameo, which I think is cool that he's really been collaborating lately. Like, before he released these singles, he had a lot of collaborations. He's just a very active guy these days.
It seems like we're seeing a creative evolution here.
For sure, for sure. I think both of those artists. And according to a press release, this new Tame Impala album is deeply inspired by the Western Australian rave scene. But as it is not released yet, I can't really give a full review to that album. But
as far as the singles go, they've been pretty good.
Yeah, I anticipate it. I think it'll be great.
Yeah. So fans of Tame Impala, especially fans of some of their older works, some of his breakout works, should be very excited, as it seems like we have an artist going back to their roots and redefining what made them popular.
For sure, yeah. Make sure to look out for that.
October 17th.
Thank you for tuning in to Redhawk TV. I'm Ethan Kolb.
And I'm Olivia Frampton. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Redhawk Television MU.